What up YouTube, it's your boy Anime Specialist. So this was a very good episode, man. It was my favorite episode of the DR.Stone anime series so far. It was really good because there was a lot of new characters introduction and I like the characters that they introduced in this week's episode. So far it's my favorite episode of the series. But I just want to say before we start talking about what we saw in this week's episode, last week's review I did a really bad job because I was really sick, so there was a lot of things that I forgot to talk about, but it was basically about, you know, Senku, Taiju and Yuzu separating themselves so that they can defeat Tsukasa at one point. I think that Yuzu and Taiju are going back to Tsukasa kind of civilization that he's going to create to, you know, infiltrate them and then give information back to Senku, I guess. And Senku is trying to get this new civilization that we were just introduced to be by his side so that he can defeat Tsukasa, you know. So I thought that was a pretty good plan. Anyway, let's talk about what happened in this episode, because we were introduced to Kohaku in last week's episode, and then in this week's episode we were introduced to a lot of new characters. You know, we also saw Kohaku's village. It looks pretty good, man, I'm not gonna lie, but obviously because of the stone world, they're not as advanced as our civilization right now, so it's not gonna be looking as good. I think it looks pretty good because there's not as much as pollution or anything like that, so I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool village. But yeah, man, that's Kohaku's village and all the other humans. But something that we learned is that I didn't really understand at first is that they're descendants of the first humans that got out of DR.Stone, you know, so that was pretty interesting. So a few, I guess, 1,000 of years ago, the first humans that got out of this stone state, you know, had children, and they're the descendants of these humans. So at first we thought that Senku, Taiju and all these guys, Yuzu and Tsukasa, were the first humans to get out of their stone state, but they weren't. A few thousand years ago there was humans that actually got out of it, so that was really interesting. I really like this part of the story. So far I really like Kohaku's character. I think that she could be a love interest for Senku at some point. Obviously right now, you know, he's in love with science, but I really like her character, man. She even protected Senku at one point because two guards of her village was going to kill him because he was an intruder. So far I really like her character. I really like her character design. I know a lot of people you know, saw that her eyes are really far apart on her face, but I like her design, man. I like her a lot. So the first characters that we were introduced to in this week's episode was Kinru and Ginru. They were the two guys that tried to kill Senku. So I think Kinru is the bigger one. I like him a lot. I like his design. The other one is Ginru. I don't really care about him right now, but obviously we'll get to know more of them till, you know, the series go on. But these are the two characters, the first characters that we were introduced to in this week's episode. But the other character that we were introduced to that I really like is kind of Senku's counterpart, because in this civilization they don't know as much as Senku because they're the descendants of the first generation that got out of the stone state, and I guess all the information that they had, they weren't passed down to them, you know. So his name is Chrome, and like I said, he's kind of the counterpart of Senku. He's kind of the scientist of this civilization, even though he doesn't know as much as Senku, because there was a pretty funny, you know, versus battle kind of in the episode where Chrome kind of tried to amaze Senku with his sorcery, you know, because for them science, I guess, is sorcery, and it's a common thing, you know. The first civilization, when the European came to North America and South America, thought that what the European did was sorcery, you know. So it's a common thing, but it was kind of funny because everything that Chrome was doing, Senku already knew about, and then Senku did other things that, Chrome didn't know about. So that was kind of a funny versus battle. And I really like the Chrome character because he's going to help Senku at some point to build this new civilization, and he's going to be kind of the apprentice of Senku because they're kind of the same age, but Senku has a lot more of experience. He knew what the human civilization was at some point and how technological, I don't know how to say it, advanced it was. So I really like the Chrome character, and I can't wait to see him again. Senku told Chrome everything that happened and everything that the human civilization was, the technology that they had, how advanced they were and everything. So that kind of made Chrome pretty sad and pretty upset because, we are really advanced right now, even though what we're doing to the planet isn't really good, I'm gonna admit it, the humans, we are killing the planet right now. So but anyway, we are really advanced, and now they're back where we were 1,000 millions of years ago, so it's pretty sad and it's pretty upsetting, so I understand why Chrome was crying, and I understand why he was upset, and he asked the question, he asked how the humans were turned into stone, and we all want to know that. So hopefully we'll know pretty early in the series. I don't know how early, but hopefully we'll know, So the other character that we were introduced to and that was foreshadowed at the beginning of the episode when Kohaku was talking about her is Kohaku's sister, and I think she's the priestess of the village, and her name is Kuri or something like that, and she's very ill. She's very like I said, she's very ill. So she said to Kohaku that she doesn't have a lot of time, which is it's pretty sad, man. And they look a lot like each other. They have blonde hair. They kind of have the same outfit and everything. But she looks beautiful, So hopefully Senku is able to make medicine for her. And they're not really advanced, so they don't really know how medicine works. They don't have that much of, we saw that Chrome had some plants that they could use and everything like that, but they're not really advanced, so they don't really know how to cure people or anything like that. They don't even know what antibiotic is, so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I really like the design of the new characters that we were introduced to, except I think his name is Ginru. His design is pretty simple. I really like Kinru. I really like Kohaku and Ruri, and I really like Chrome, So I can't wait to, know more and see more of them for this arc, because I think this arc is called the Village arc. There was a trailer. I didn't do a video about it, but I think it's gonna be a pretty long arc. I don't know when Senku, Taiju and Yuzu are gonna see each other again. I think it's gonna be a while, but maybe we're gonna see Taiju and Yuzu, separated. Right now it's really because Senku is the main character, is really focused on him, but maybe in an episode it's gonna be focused on Taiju and Yuzu, So we'll see, but. I think it's going to be a pretty long arc. I think it's going to be a pretty good arc. I can't wait because the first 5 episodes were okay. I didn't really fall in love with the anime yet, but this episode, I think there's a lot of potential. I really like what we saw in this week's episode. So right now, obviously, Senku's goal is to have this civilization on his side so that he can beat Tsukasa and the civilization that he's going to create. And then he has to make an antibiotic for Kohaku's sister. I think he's gonna be able to do it. I think that I always forget her name, but I think Kuri is gonna survive everything. So it's pretty interesting that she's the priestess of the village. I'm wondering how she was chosen for this. I'm wondering what's her role. But yeah, man, it was a really good episode in my opinion. It was my favorite episode, period, so I really like the characters that were introduced. But let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below, and let me know what you think is gonna happen next. I do DR.Stone reviews every Friday, so subscribe for that. But I also do other anime related things like Black Clover reviews on Tuesdays. Like I said, DR.Stone and Fire Force reviews on Fridays, and then One Piece and Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer reviews on Saturdays. Last week's episode of Demon Slayer was really good. It was trending on Twitter. It was my favorite episode of the season. It was a masterpiece, man. So if you are not watching the Demon Slayer anime right now, go watch it, because it's one of the anime of the year to me, with Attack on Titan, The Promised Neverland, and many more. So go watch it, man. And then there's also the One Piece anime, where they're in the Wano arc right now. The animation and art is amazing. So if you're not watching One Piece, man, I know it's really long, but it's worth it, man. It's hard at the beginning, but it gets really good at some point. I'm not gonna tell when, but it gets really good. So go watch it now. But yeah, man, I think I've said everything that I needed to say in this week's review. Follow me at Anime Specialist on Twitter and Instagram. I tweet a lot more, so follow me on Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe. It would help my channel a lot. We're at 58 subscribers right now, so thank you for the support. Anime Specialist out, man.